In China, the number of people killed by the new coronavirus outbreak has risen to 81, with almost 3,000 confirmed to have been infected. A 50-year-old man in Beijing is the first to have died in the capital. The city, which is the focus of the outbreak, Wuhan, in the central province of Hubei, remains under near lockdown. Several other cities have imposed stringent travel restrictions. We're going to look at two aspects to China's approach to trying to control the disease, how the politicians are supervising the fight and the flow of information, and how the health system is set up to respond to an emergency such as this. We'll begin with the BBC's Kerry Allen, who's been monitoring the media inside China on the crisis.
What they've been doing increasingly is trying to roll out a number of posters that are being very rapidly spread on a number of different platforms to try and encourage positivity. So a lot of posters saying, Wuhan will fight this, come on Wuhan. And today, very strong signal being sent out by one of China's most senior officials, the second in command, Li Keqiang, the premier, arriving in Wuhan, motivating medical staff and visiting the site of a hospital that is going to be built within 7 days.
And has that been one of the criticisms or observations as far as, we've been able to get, and I know that you scour social media sites inside China to try and work out, try and sort of test the mood of the nation. It's difficult because the censors are hard at work. But has there been a bit of a sense of criticism that maybe the top people haven't been as involved as they should have been?
Oh, absolutely, yes. It's been very noticeable that the first outbreak of this virus, a lot of questions were coming out on social media about why we were only hearing of cases in Wuhan. And we've even seen commentaries from very senior journalists in China saying that Wuhan did not do enough to contain this. So these have been very striking, the fact that there has been a bit of finger pointing, because normally with a big story like this, where there's the potential of panic, the government will all unite together and try to maintain a message of positivity.
And is there also a sense of maybe a lack of trust in the authorities because of what happened 15 or so years ago with SARS?
There's a common perception in China that whenever we hear of officials who are detained or suddenly removed from office due to corruption, graft, any kind of misconduct, they're normally the deputies. And this is the highest level deputy that you can have. So if this does turn out to be an international crisis or it cannot be contained, this is the biggest fall guy that China has.
Right. So, that's hugely significant that somebody, in a sense, that senior is not just trying to get to grips with this, but allowing themselves to be put in this exposed position.
The fact that he's actually physically in Wuhan today, he's got a mask on, he's talking to people on the ground. Wuhan, the city, is in lockdown. It's a city of 11 million people. So, he's being sent there. He's trying to show the positivity of the government being involved, but at the same time, it sends a very serious message that China is treating this at such a high level that the premier himself is actually going to this area.
Are you getting or able to pick up any signals from within places like Wuhan or the other cities that have been more or less locked down from residents who are concerned about the draconian measures that the authorities are taking?
It's obviously difficult to get into Wuhan, but media that is normally state-affiliated have been doing live interviews. One example being The Paper, which is a news website. They've been doing live interviews at, say, railway stations and talking to people who had arrived at the railway station hoping to travel to see their family, who are openly complaining that they weren't informed that travel had been suspended. The Paper has also been sharing footage of supermarkets being cleared of their shelves. So people clearly panicking. And
being reported. That's the interesting thing, isn't it? That it's you imagine that all this would be incredibly tightly controlled, and perhaps it is, but it's not sort of entirely whitewashing the picture.
Been monitoring Chinese media extremely closely, and it's so common this time of year to see just a positive message. Spring Festival, it's the happiest time of the year. It's when you return home to see your family. You don't expect to see criticism. You don't expect to see panic. You don't expect media to be giving commentaries and saying, this is a problem. This is really unprecedented.
Kerry Allen from BBC Monitoring.